Welcome to Mrs. Buff's Kitchen, where we test the recipe so you don't have to. Today on Mrs. Buff's Kitchen, we are making quick and super easy chicken and dumplings from allrecipes.com. Now, let's take a look at the ingredients and instructions for this recipe and also the prep time. To begin the recipe, we must first mix together the biscuit dry mix with the milk. So what we'll need is 2 1/4 cup of the biscuit mix. Now I chose to use the Biscuit Complete buttermilk biscuit mix. One package should be 2 cups, so we'll check that out and make sure that's on track. So here is 1 cup, which I don't know if I'm gonna have a whole other cup left in here. Let's see. I don't. So this really isn't 2 cups worth. Good thing I got 2 packages and I didn't listen. So we'll go ahead and finish filling up this cup. And then we'll go ahead and get 1/4 cup. So now we'll go ahead and put the 1/4 cup in. And voila, the biscuit mix is in the bowl. Now we're going to go ahead and put 2/3 cup of milk. Now if you notice, while I measured out the biscuit mix, I didn't, compact it and scrape off the top. I like to have it approximate. And same thing with the milk. I mean, I'll obviously measure the 2/3, but if I feel like I need a little more, then I'll go ahead and do that. Something else I always recommend doing when you're measuring, especially liquids, set it down and then look at a level to make sure that you're actually getting 2/3 cup of milk, because while it's up in your hand, it definitely looks a little different. Now we're going to go ahead and pour the 2/3 cup milk into our biscuit mix. And the recipe asks that we just mix together the milk and biscuit mix until it pulls together. So we're going to go ahead and stir that until it's nice and just kind of sticky. The sides and make sure it's all nice and pulled together, which it looks like it's pretty pulled together to me. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and actually clean up before my next step, just because I like to clean as I go. It makes it a little easier by the time the end of the recipe is done. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I still have probably about a cup and a half left of this biscuit mix, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in a Ziploc baggie. And put that away with my dry goods, and go ahead and put all of my measuring material in the sink and washed up, because as you see, all we have left is the canned goods, and we won't have to do any cleaning there. Just it all goes in the trash, which is another plus for this recipe. Low cleanup time. The recipe says to wait until the broth and chicken are at a steady boil, and then take handfuls of the dough and flatten it out, and then drop 1 to 2 inch pieces into the boiling broth. I am going to go ahead and do that now. I hate waiting until it's boiling and then I feel rushed to do the next step. So I like to do things on top of each other just because it makes me feel less rushed, and when I'm less rushed, I usually make less mistakes. So let's go ahead and flatten out the dough. I've already washed my hands, but if you haven't, make sure you go ahead and wash your hands and we'll get this dough flattened. Now anytime I work with dough, I like to just put a little bit of flour on my hands, because it inevitably will be sticky. And then plus I like to put a little bit on the surface I'm going to flatten it on. I'm just using this this cutting board because it's easy, and I can just put it in the dishwasher when I'm done. So we'll go ahead and take a handful of dough, and yes, that's sticky. And we'll just go ahead and flatten that out. As you see, it's already on my hands. So we'll probably need to I'm going to go ahead and put some more flour on my hands because it's just sticking really bad. We'll go ahead and flatten that out. That's much better. Go ahead and flatten that side out. There's 1 handful. I'm going to go ahead and take another handful and get that flattened. Get some more flour on my hands. Now don't get too much flour on the dough because you don't want to make the dough real flaky. Again, I'm just doing this to keep it from sticking. So we'll go ahead and flatten that out. And then we'll do one last section of dough. Let's go ahead and get all the sides scraped off. We'll use as much of it as we can. Times are hard after all. Waste not, want not. So we'll go ahead and get that flattened out. So once they are in the broth, you want to make sure they're fully immersed for at least a few minutes. At least that's what the recipe has asked us to do, so we'll make sure we do that. And then we'll get the rest of them in, make sure they're all covered by stirring up the broth a little bit as the recipe asks us to do. And then once we've done that, we'll go ahead and cover the saucepan and turn the heat down to medium and let it cook for about 10 minutes. Okay, so while I'm putting the dumplings in the broth, I do want to say, it did say prep time takes about 5 minutes. This is a very easy recipe, but I do think it takes a little bit longer than 5 minutes because you have to get all your items together, all your ingredients, get all of your utensils together, and then cutting and dropping it. Now it might just be a little bit over 5 minutes, maybe 8 to 10 minutes, I would say. So if you're really in a rush and you really need that 5 minutes prep time, then just be aware. But again, I'm not saying that this is a hard recipe or it takes a long time. It just is a little bit longer than 5 minutes. I will say it's nice that it only takes 10 minutes of cook time once you've gotten all of the ingredients together and put in the saucepan. 10 minutes is really good. That means you can come home from work, or if you already stay at home and you have basketball practice or piano lessons, you can just whip this together real fast. So we'll go ahead and turn this down to medium. I'll get a lid and put and cover the saucepan, and we will see you back once it's fully cooked. There's nothing better than watching football with my boys.
Yeah, football season is great, but I'm hungry.
You know what? That reminds me. We need to have some chips and queso. Don't miss my upcoming football special.
Yay!
Okay, here comes my fantasy defense. Okay, so now the chicken and dumplings are ready. Now remember while it's cooking to stir it occasionally, because otherwise it can get pretty thick and the top will just stay nice and moist and the bottom can get kind of dry. Go ahead and turn the timer off. So we'll go ahead and bring that to the table and see what the kids think.
It's perfect.
Is it a keeper?
It's a keeper.
Okay, so this one's a keeper. Now, go to my blog at mrsbuffskitchen.com and you can check out more information about the recipe, such as directions, again the link, and any comments I had about it on suggestions. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you next time.